Hi y'all, I just wanted to share with you this really phenomenal discernment that I just got downloaded while studying with my mentor, Dr. Donald Epstein. And for so long, I've been studying the quantum field and quantum entanglement and how the quantum field and the quanta of energy and the magnetic field that's around us shapes us. And when our body changes into different shapes, we're basically, that is our mind going into a strategy of defense, defending us in some way where our mind or our personality or our connection with our culture, it doesn't actually match up with the truth. The field around us is like pure truth, right? And then that gets filtered into this reality that's in the fourth dimension, 4D, and that is where we're using our mind to place us in time and space. So that is a whole big area that I could just talk forever on. But today I wanted to just give you something really practical that I just got today that's so powerful. And it's about this concept of the gap. Now we have gaps all the time. A gap in who we are right now and who we want to be. A gap in how much money we make and how much we'd like to make. There's a gap in like the difference that we're making in the world and what we really want to be doing. There's a gap in our relationship of where it is and what an ideal relationship is. And when we struggle, it's because we're focusing on that gap and how that gap isn't being filled. And when we're trying to fill it from our identity or in the fourth dimension or who we are right now in this moment, it's painful and it's stressful because all we have is this one fixed reality and we don't see the infinite possibilities that are available to us. And when we allow ourselves to start to look at the gap by focusing fully on it, what we have right now, and then fully where we want to be, fully what's happening right now, fully where we'd like to be, and just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, something magical happens. And it just all came full circle to me why this happens. We've been working on this, at Magnolia and with everybody that I work with in many ways, and I didn't really understand the full magic of why it works. So basically, the field is communicating to us all the time. Our brain is basically modulating everything that we're taking in based on our own need to be consistent with our identity. And so when that's happening, we are all of a sudden taking something that's completely perfect and we're distorting it. Now, when you're looking at the gap, what's cool is that you are in that fourth dimension looking at one thing and then looking at the other. And if you are somebody that gets excited about, if you're externally oriented, the future excites you, you live in the future, you are part of everything, then it's really awesome if you take whatever that is and put it into space. Now, Donnie talked a lot today about space and place. So instead of thinking about time and place, we want you to think of time and space. So like on a timeline, like on a graph, and you're are charting yourself, a lot of times it's like, what place am I on this graph along time? And one way he just blew our minds today was he talked about that along space instead of place. So if you have a timeline and it's in space, then all of a sudden you're not limited to the rules of the fourth dimension. So that's super cool, and I want to talk about that more as well in another video. But today what I want you to think about is whatever your gap is, take both ends of that gap. So right now I'm experiencing this in my life, and really what I want is this. I want you to take those two things and just see them in space and go alternate between one and then the other, one and then the other, one and then the other. And the more you can create an emotional relationship with it, the more you can create like a sensory motor strategy where you're actually seeing yourself doing it and being it. You are going to anchor it in like a meme of consciousness. And I want you to get really good at each one and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What's gonna happen is this incredible, expanded, non-fourth dimensional, non-mental intelligence, the organizing field of everything is going to come in and like fill that gap. So the two things that we focus on are whenever our mind is focusing, it's typically that fourth dimension. It's never higher. And we're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until this thing happens where you're kind of in space and you can't track it anymore. When that's happening, the fifth dimension comes in, and that is where infinite possibilities become available. So I want you to just practice that and share with me what you're experiencing. And if you have questions on how that's working, I know I just described it in a really simplistic way, and it's something I've been studying for, like really 18 years, and really in a concentrated way in the past 4 years. So it's a big concept, but I want you to just experience it without knowing anything, with a beginner's mind. Just dive into the experience of playing with the gap. If it's your health, this is where my health is now, this is where my health must be, and really fully create that picture. And then the other, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and this other intelligence then has permission to come in and fill that space in the gap. And that is from the fifth dimension, because everything that's happening here is an artifact of other dimensions filtered through our own nervous system, which is doing everything it can to be congruent with who you think you're supposed to be. Isn't that cool? So play, explore, and if you are a chiropractor, you need to come and do the Mastery program with Dr. Donnie. If you are, just a lay person in the world, you need to do his alchemy program, because he's really just transcending reality and transcending our own, transcending people's blocks so that we can live in this higher energy state, in this higher way of being, and really make the changes in our own body and our own lives that we know are necessary for that gap of where humanity must be and where humanity is now. Every single one of us has like a deep, palpable experience of that pain of like where humanity is right now and where we must be in the future. And the work that he's doing is really helping to fill that gap. So let's start today by just playing with that gap for yourself. Message me in the comments below. I'd love to just, explore this with you and make it real. And again, check out epienergetics.com to learn more about Donnie. Thank you. Bless you and have fun.